So we'll have a look at a sun salutation. There are different variations of a sun salutation, but they generally have similar components. There might just be the odd posture that's different. And it's like a short, small sequence that you can learn. So as part of this course is about understanding yoga postures and how you can create your own home practice. And a small version of that, if you like, of creating and building a home practice, building your own sequence, is a sun salutation. There's also a moon salutation. There's lots of them out there. So I'll take you through a sun salutation. We would have looked at a lot of these postures that make this up already in isolation, but I'll talk you through how we flow through these different movements. Sun salutations are great as an all-round body conditioning exercise. So we'd start it from our mountain pose. We are extending up tall. We're going to bring the hands together. So we've done the tilt back of the pelvis, bit of engagement in the thighs, extending up, chin drops slightly. We can do this sequence with the breath. So I'm going to do it without the breath cues first, and then we'll do it with the breath cues. So I'm taking the fingertips up to the ceiling and I'm looking up. So this action of looking up and the hands coming up creates this back bend. And then I'm going to fold forwards and I'm taking my arms out to the side. Head hanging. So we're in our forward fold posture. So if you wanted to take a slight bend in the legs, you could. You can have the belly on the thighs. From here, we're going to move into what's referred to as flat back, or it creates like a right angle in the body. Depending on the range of movement and flexibility in your body, you might be able to do this with the fingertips down. But I'm going to put my fingertips on my shins and lift. And then we're going to fold forwards again, hands to the mat, and we're stepping back into a plank position. So normal plank, or if you needed to, you could have your modified plank with the knees down. From here, we're going to move down onto the mat, and this action is called chaturanga in Sanskrit, so it's all the way down. Extend toes, and then I'm going to lift my chest, take the gaze forwards into cobra. So as we know with cobra, we're wanting the muscles in the back to do that movement for us. The hands just happen to be down, so it's not all about pressing the hands down. So we lift, and then we come back down. And then we transition to downward dog. So we curl the toes under, pressing up, and then back to downward dog. Head hanging, gaze to the back of the mat, and then step or walk forwards and come into a folded forward position. And then we're coming up, arms come out to the side, hands together above the head, and then hands come down and the arms come down. So when we're going through plank down onto the mat and then coming up again, you can always have that knee down modification to help with that transition. So you don't have to lower the body in one line or bring it back up in one line. You could, if you were coming down from plank, knees down, then the body down. And then when you're coming up from cobra, you could press up to hands and knees first and then bring yourself into downward dog. So we'll do it with the breath cues. And often if you're new to yoga, having breath cues can, for some people, not everybody, create a bit too much to think about. You know, you're thinking about moving your body and thinking about your breath. If you struggle with the breath cues, put them to one side, focus on the movement cues, and then in time, the breath will often quite naturally fall into the place that it should be, or you're in a place of being able to, you're used to the movements and you can put a bit more focus and attention on the breath cues. With all of our, in the majority of cases, with the breath cues and the movement, we breathe out when we are closing the body down and we're inhaling when we come up. So we're breathing out when we're folding forwards. We'd breathe out when we come down onto the mat from plank. We'd inhale when we lift into cobra. And with the breath cues, what I try and do when I'm giving the breath cues is ask you to move with your next breath in or your next breath out. Because I could give you a cue and say, inhaling up when you're naturally ready to breathe out. So it confuses. By giving you the permission to use your neck breath, you can wait until you've exhaled and then you can inhale as you come up. So we'll go through it with the breath cues. So we're at the top of the mat. Our hands are together. We breathe in and out. Breathing in and then out. Inhale, fingertips up, looking up. Breathing out, folding forwards, head hanging. Inhale as we lift into flat back. And next breath out, hands to the mat. Inhale as you step back to plank. Next breath out all the way down. Extend toes. Next breath in, inhale, lift the chest gaze forwards, cobra. Breathe out, down. Curling the toes under, and we inhale as we press up and back into downward dog. Pause here for a couple of breaths, so you're just breathing normally. And then when you're ready to take that next breath in, we'll inhale as we step forwards, breathe out, fold forwards. Inhale up, arms out to the side, hands together, breathe out, down. Inhale up, breathe out, forwards. Inhale, lifting flat back, breathe out, hands to mat. Inhaling, plank. Next breath out, down. Extend toes. Next breath in, lift cobra. Breathe out, down. Curl the toes under. And next breath in, pressing back into downward dog. Pause here. Next breath in, step forwards. And then breathe out, fold forwards. Inhale up, arms to the side, hands together. Breathe out, down, and taking your arms down. So just an example there of the sun salutations. You would have seen in the other videos the postures that make that up, so you'll be aware of how you can modify those. And you can also, when you're doing your sun salutation, you can decide at how quick or slow you want it to be. So which is quite nice to play around with that, depending on what type of activity you want it to be, whether it's a bit more sedate and relaxed or a bit more upbeat and physical.